Hi, welcome to Joe Blogs, and in this video I'm taking on a 30-day intermittent fasting challenge whereby I'm going to avoid eating for 16 hours a day and only eat for 8 hours. And the theory here is that by doing that, it gives your body a chance to clear out all of the food you've got in your system and then to start breaking down some of your stored energy, usually in the form of fat. And the idea there is that you're removing fat, but you're also removing other proteins and things that are stored in your body that are not healthy for you. Now, the theory says that if you do this, you'll have more energy, it will improve your mood, and overall, this is a better way of living your life. It goes back to the days when humans were warriors, when we were having to go out and hunt and gather for food, where you would only eat for a short period of the day, and the rest of the day you'd either be sleeping or looking for more food. So let's give it a try and see how this challenge goes. So here I am on day one of my intermittent fast. I haven't eaten for around 14 hours at the moment. Normally I'd be having breakfast now, so probably have some yogurt, maybe a bit of toast, something along those lines. Today I'm having a glass of water and a cup of tea. And the important thing about the tea is that it's black tea, so it hasn't got any cream or sugar or anything in there that would be classified as glucose. And that's the key to this, is that I'm cutting out glucose for something like 16 or 18 hours a day. And the theory is that my body, because it will need some glucose, it'll look for energy, will start breaking down the fat that I've got, which will benefit me in terms of obviously weight loss, but also there are other added benefits in terms of energy levels and concentration and memory. Well, that's the theory. I'm only on day one, so I can't really tell you that there's any great improvement at the moment because I've only just started. But this is the start of it. I'm going for a glass of water and a cup of black tea for breakfast. And I've got another 4 or 5 hours before lunch. So hopefully I will feel the benefit of not having anything to eat. But at the moment I'm feeling a little bit peckish. Normally I'd be eating now, so my body is waiting for an injection of food, which isn't going to come. So let's see how I get on and whether or not I start to feel really energized and excited, or whether I'm absolutely starving and hangry within the next few hours. So here I am on day 3 of the intermittent fasting challenge, and I've got my breakfast, which is a glass of water and a cup of black tea again. How am I finding it so far? Well, it's been remarkably easy actually, because the only change that I've made is to cut breakfast out of my daily routine. So normally I would have had breakfast somewhere around about 9 o'clock and then had my lunch around 1 o'clock. What I'm doing now is not eating until 1 o'clock. So I'm going from around about 8 o'clock the previous evening all the way through to 1 o'clock. And the only real difference I've noticed is the sort of mental side of things, the habit of thinking, oh, it's breakfast time now, I'll go and have something to eat. That's really the only thing that I'm struggling with, the mental side of it. The physical side is not a problem. I'm not feeling particularly hungry. I'm not getting to the point where I'm absolutely starving and I can't do anything. And in fact, I've been to the gym every single day. I've been all 3 days, and I played football last night, and I didn't notice any issues in terms of energy levels. So it's definitely not a problem actually going through the process of the fasting. And I have to say, so far, the main difference I've noticed is that when I am eating, when I'm having my lunch or my evening meal, I'm getting full really quickly. So going from a really empty stomach and then eating something, I presume, makes you feel more full. I don't know the science behind it, but I definitely don't feel the need to be snacking through the day. So normally, if I'm having breakfast, I'll then think about maybe having a banana mid-morning before I have lunch, and then I might have something in the afternoon between lunch and my evening meal. But I haven't been doing that. I've actually been feeling really full. So I think there's an added benefit there. And the other thing that I'm following is try to stop eating at least 3 hours before you go to sleep. So it gives your body the chance to digest all of the food. And again, that's not a problem. Occasionally in the past, I would have had some snacks, maybe late at night watching TV. Might tuck into something. Haven't been doing that. So again, that's the mental side of it, where you think, oh, I quite like a snack whilst I'm watching something on the TV. Actually, it's quite easy to just think, I'll just have a drink of water or a cup of tea or some herbal tea or something like that. So it's not a problem physically. So far, I'm enjoying the process. It's just the mental side of it, sort of stopping yourself when you're opening the cupboard to pull something out to munch on, stopping doing that in the periods when you're not meant to be eating. But day 3, so far, so good. So here I am on day 7 with my breakfast, a glass of water and a black tea. And how am I finding it? Well, the novelty's definitely worn off. The first few days it's quite exciting. You're thinking, oh, this is going to be great. I'll see how it goes. And then you get into the routine of it. And I have to say that I'm not really struggling with it at all. I'm finding not having anything to eat in the mornings until lunchtime is actually quite manageable for me. And what I have found is it gives you more time in the day, because normally I might spend half an hour, 45 minutes having breakfast, and then you have to go back to doing what you're doing. And that break, so my routine, I usually do some work pre-breakfast, then I would have breakfast and then go back to it. And what I've found in the past is that it takes a bit of time to get going again. So after your breakfast, you go back to your desk, and then maybe you're sort of thinking, oh, I can't really be bothered. You're having a look on the internet, you're checking your phone, various things like that. And it might be 45 minutes to an hour before you really get back into the groove of it. Whereas having this for breakfast doesn't really do that. So basically I come down, make some breakfast, and then within 5 minutes, I'm back at my desk. And so you haven't really broken stride. So I'm finding I've got more time in the day. And when I'm looking at my watch, it's much earlier than it is when I'm having breakfast. So it's definitely giving me more time. In terms of the benefits that I'm looking to achieve, having more energy and feeling sort of better mood, I don't know whether or not that's coming through just yet. I'm certainly not feeling like I've got less energy. So I don't see any downside to doing this so far. I haven't really noticed a huge boost in my energy levels or my mood levels yet, but let's see how that progresses over the course of the month. So here I am on day 10. I've got a herbal tea today rather than a black tea. I've got some water on my desk. It's actually mid-morning. I'm not making this at breakfast time. And in terms of how it's going, it's remarkable how quickly I've adapted to this new regime. I don't really think about food in the morning when I get up. I'm thinking about work and maybe having a cup of tea, some water, and then holding out until usually around 1 o'clock when I'm having my lunch, which means that I'm getting 16 hours between the final thing I'm eating at night and in the morning. Now, over the past 10 days, I haven't been absolutely religious. I've been out twice, and so I've actually eaten something later than 8 o'clock, which is sort of the mental cutoff that I've set for myself. So I haven't been sticking to it 100%, but through the mornings, I haven't had anything at all. So basically, from going to bed till around about 1 o'clock in the afternoon, I'm not having anything to eat. And that's the whole concept behind this, is that you're giving your body time to actually use up all of the energy from the food that you've eaten, and then start gaining energy from other sources, basically using some of the fat reserves you've got. And the logic is that that's breaking down some of that fat. But also, there's meant to be all of these other benefits, that it's much better for your body and it rids itself of some of the toxins that are in there. There's lots of theory about actually having some really good health benefits. And in terms of how I'm feeling, I am actually feeling a bit more trim, even though it's only 10 days in. I sort of feel that I am losing a bit of weight. Now, I'm not doing this to lose weight. I'm not on a diet. I'm not trying to hit some sort of weight target, but I would like to be a bit more toned, I think, particularly around the stomach area. Everybody wants to look a bit more ripped than just having a big bag where your tummy is. I'm definitely feeling that that's starting to take shape. I'm not doing any pictures because I'm not one of those videos where I'm going to show you I've got a ripped tummy at the end of it, but I definitely feel like I'm sort of slimming down a little bit around the stomach area. And I'm not actually changing what I'm eating. I think I'm eating at least the same that I was eating previously, possibly even more between 1 o'clock and 8 o'clock. But having that 16-hour break between when I stop eating and having lunch is helping me to digest better. So far, I think there are some benefits to this. It hasn't been a major upheaval in terms of changing to this lifestyle, and I think it's working, but I'll let you know how things go through the rest of the month. Okay, so here I am on day 20. Got my customary breakfast, glass of water, black tea. How am I finding it? Well, I've got two things to report to you. Firstly, I've had to actually change my belt. I've gone up a size in terms of the buckle, so that means that my waist is getting smaller because I was finding that my trousers were actually falling down. So I've actually had to increase the notches on my belt. So that's a positive, I guess. I'm not keeping a track of my weight, so I can't tell you what's going on with my weight, but I can certainly tell you that I've noticed a difference in terms of my waist size. My trousers were definitely getting too big for me. And secondly, I'm finding that I'm staying full longer. So although I'm not eating for 16 hours, when I am having something to eat, when I have lunch or my evening meal, I really don't feel hungry at all for quite a long period of time. Whereas previously, if I had lunch, maybe within an hour, hour and a half, I'd be thinking, oh, I'd quite fancy a snack. Maybe that's a mental thing. Maybe it's just an adjustment that your whole body and mind takes when you're not eating as much through the day, that you don't need to eat as much because you actually got enough energy from the food that you've eaten at lunch or evening meal. But I've definitely found that I'm not interested in snacking as much. I'm not thinking I really need something to eat. Whereas previously, I was finding that I was getting those sugar lows, that in the mid-afternoon period between lunch and my evening meal, I was thinking I really need something to eat, otherwise, I'm going to faint. So that's certainly a difference. And in terms of my mood, I think I'm generally feeling much happier, more buoyant, more positive about everything. So although I can't give you a definite answer on that, I'm not running around singing all day, I'm definitely feeling more uplifted, more positive. I don't think there's as much tension in the air in terms of arguments, those sort of things. So there is definitely some positives that are coming through. But that's my report from day 20. So here I am on day 30 of this intermittent fasting challenge with my customary breakfast of a glass of water and a black tea. And to be honest, I've really got into this new routine because I've found that I've got so much more time during the day because I'm not breaking from what I'm doing to have breakfast. And I'm not really missing eating something before lunchtime. In fact, I'm quite enjoying it because I've got to the stage now where my stomach genuinely is rumbling at around 8, 9 o'clock in the morning. And I don't know about you, but I can't remember, apart from this challenge, the last time that my stomach genuinely rumbled. Obviously, you say things like, I'm starving, I haven't eaten for ages. But actually, are you? Are you really starving? But through this process, you genuinely digest all of the food in your system, which I think is a good thing to actually clear out your stomach at some point. And the theory is that your body then starts breaking down all of the stored energy in terms of fat that you've got and removing unhealthy proteins and other things that are stored in your body. And in terms of whether or not I feel better, well, I certainly don't feel any worse than when I was doing just a normal routine of eating 3 meals a day. And I think I probably do feel like I've got a bit more energy. I certainly feel more energized. I certainly feel like I've got more focus. So I think there's an element of truth in that idea that if this gives you more energy, focus, and improves your mood. I've definitely been more upbeat. Maybe it's because I've got a new purpose in life. I'm thinking about eating between sort of 1 o'clock and 8 or 9 o'clock at night. And in terms of what I'm eating exactly the same things. I haven't changed my diet, but I'm appreciating it more. I feel like I'm having a treat when I'm eating something at lunchtime, when I'm eating something after lunch. And then towards the end of the day, when I'm sort of thinking about stopping eating, I might have a couple of little extra treats just before I think, okay, that's enough for today. So I'm appreciating food more. I've got a lot of energy. I've definitely been in a better mood. And overall, I think this is a really successful idea. So I'm going to stick with it. Not because I want to prove anything, just because I think it's working better for me. So if you're thinking about doing it, if you're maybe thinking of having a dabble, definitely give it a go. Because all you really need to do is cut out your breakfast. You don't have anything to eat before lunch. So you need to get around that. And I think having tea and coffee, obviously with no milk or cream or anything in it, is a great way of getting through the day, because once I've had this and a glass of water, I definitely won't feel like eating anything for another hour or so. I might have another one before lunchtime, but it's giving my body a chance to digest everything. And I think that's really the point here. So the overall summary of this 30-day challenge, I think, has been a really big success for me. It's working for me. I definitely feel more healthier. I definitely feel in a better mood. I've dropped a couple of belt buckles in terms of my waist. So I think it's helping my body. And for me, it's a big thumbs up.